Welcome to Good Morning Football. We are here live in New York City. It is March 3rd. I am Nate Burleson, alongside Kyle Big Brains Brand.
That's right.
And you know, Jane, her football knowledge is insane. Slater. What's up, KB? What we got on the show?
We got three deep. Jane, how you doing? We got a power trio today. Favorite musical trio? Go around the table. Who you got, Jane?
In Vogue.
In Vogue.
Ooh.
I love it. Free your mind. Nate, who you got?
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it. I'm going with Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
Okay, Dave.
We're
I'm gonna
going
go
like
with
80s.
I'm gonna go with TLC. T-Boz. That was my girl back in the day.
Waterfalls.
Oh my goodness.
Chili.
I was always chasing them. It is mock draft season. People are chasing prospects. That's when things get a little bit crazy. We love mock draft season. So who's everybody taking? Come on, who are the Colts taking? Are the Patriots taking a quarterback in the first round? A DJ we know, and I'm not talking about Spinderella, thinks that they are. Now, we've also watched the Combine over the weekend, and the drills look tough in a dome and 72 degrees on the turf. What if they were done on the streets of New York City? What if they were done right down at the base of our studio? Jane and Nate and myself, we're gonna go out and we're gonna see how tough they are. Rich hasn't nailed the 40. We're gonna see if we can do the gauntlet, the hip swivel. There'll be a football on a stick. It's gonna be nuts. And you know how the prospects get the Funderlick test, right? We give it to them every week here on the show. It's not the Wonderlick, it's the Funderlick. It's not the knowledge of the game, it's who has the best, biggest personality. And today's prospect is a guy who swims with sharks, and he's not even afraid of it. It's great. It's gonna be a big show.
That's a tease.
Not bad. Not bad. He really does. He really does.
Really?
Yes.
All right, let's get it in.
Swimming with sharks and chasing waterfalls. Let's go.
Love it. I mean, we're already off to a great start. Well, let's start with the lead block.
Lead block. Free your mind.
Of course, we were all speculating about what Tom Brady said during a Syracuse basketball game on Saturday after his longtime teammate, that joker, Julian Edelman, said, quote, he's coming back into the camera. It looked like Tom said, no, he's not, but the tape has since been enhanced. Let's take a closer listen.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
This is crazy. We're real close.
What'd you tell Bayheim?
You got it.
The plot thickens. Okay.
So it turns out that Tom Brady was saying what advice he gave head coach Jim Boeheim before the game. All right, guys, we all think Tom Brady is going to stay in New England. What do you think about this whole situation, and why do we think that this is the best fit? Kyle, let's start with you.
It's funny because originally that video, everyone thought Edelman was saying he's coming back, and Brady goes, he's not. And now he's actually talking to Boeheim. This video is so big because it's Syracuse and it's football, and like half of the football media went to Syracuse. So for every Adam Shine and Andrew Siciliano and Mike Tirico, they love it. As far as whether he's not or what he's doing, listen, I've been saying this for weeks. I think Tom Brady's going back to New England because it's the best fit, and everyone wants to talk about what he would gain when he went to Tennessee or what he'd gain if he went to Las Vegas. What he would lose if he left is he would lose the best football coach in the history of the sport. He would lose Bill Belichick. And I also think we're losing perspective on what happened last year with the Patriots. There's this idea that the Patriots failed him, that they didn't do enough, they didn't bring enough weapons. Guys, that's wrong. Let's look at what the New England Patriots did last year. Spent their first-round pick on a receiver. First-round pick. He got hurt. They brought Josh Gordon back. He had issues. They traded for Mohamed Sanu. He got hurt. They brought in Antonio Brown after he had frozen his feet off and set the whole country on a scavenger hunt for a helmet. He had issues.
And
they
by
did
the way,
everything.
Tom Brady wanted him there.
And I hear he still wants him there, Jane. And this is also a season in which the center, David Andrews, missed the entire thing. The tackle, Isaiah Wynn, missed most of the thing. And James Devlin missed most of it. It was a terrible, cataclysmic season for the Patriots last year with their weapons and their linemen, and they finished 12-4. Be very careful getting tempted by the flashy objects in Las Vegas and Tennessee. I know that Brady is not FaceTiming with Bill Belichick. I don't know if Bill Belichick FaceTimes anybody, but remember, you'd be leaving him, and they did not fail him last year. They will not fail him this year. Don't go.
I guarantee next season when it starts, they'll be singing Brady's back.
Back again.
Exactly.
Tell a friend.
Exactly. Tell a friend. Tell everybody in the stadium, because Tom Brady is going to be in a New England Patriots uniform. And I keep bringing up examples from it happening in other sports. History repeats itself. Let's go back to a few different sports.
Do it, Nick.
Roger Clemens, right? You know, Roger Clemens, he went to the Toronto Blue Jays. He won a Cy Young Award, but he didn't have team success. The team wasn't that good. He had to go to the Yankees in order to win an actual World Series. All right, so that actually worked out. But his first stop after he left his team, it didn't work out. All right, what about basketball? I keep bringing up Jordan with the Wizards. Okay. Now, Jordan with the Wizards' first year, 22 points a game. I mean, for a guy at his age, that's pretty good. But he's playing with a young, face maskless Rip Hamilton and Kwame Brown. The reason I bring that up, because Tom Brady could go somewhere, still have a decent season, but the guys surrounding him, they're not able to make plays for him. Kind of like what we saw this past year with the Patriots. The best example recently in football, I would say Peyton Manning. We keep bringing that up. First year with the Broncos, had an amazing, historic, record-breaking season. They didn't win the Super Bowl, though. He won the Super Bowl at the end of his career when his arm was basically falling off of his shoulder, but because he had a great D. So the reason I bring all this up, there's so many other variables that have to take place. What do you want, Tom Brady? Do you want the money? All right, let's check that. Do you want team success? You're going to have to find a team that needs a quarterback. And usually teams that need a quarterback aren't ready to win a Super Bowl. Or do you want individual success? Yeah, Tom Brady can go play for the Bucs and throw it to Godwin and Evans. He can go play for the Titans and throw it to A.J. Brown and Corey Davis. But what is he going to do and what is he going to choose? I say he's going to go back to where his bread is buttered. And that's playing for the New England Patriots where he's most comfortable, a system where he fits the best, and he knows if he puts enough pressure on the organization, they will bring in some talent around him, or else we'll see another repeat of a very good record-wise season, but not enough to win a Super Bowl.
And I think to that point, you know, he's 43 years old.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
Why fix something that's not broke? To your point, 12-4 is considered cataclysmic.
Terrible year.
For Patriots fans. You know how many fan bases would love a 12-4 season? I also think there's an element of, to what you said, Nate, he has such an iconic legacy in New England. You go somewhere else, and while he's got all those skins on the wall of New England, it does dilute the legacy just a little bit.
Yeah.
And at 43, even though he's still at the top of his game, he's got a coach that knows his unique skill set, that's worked with him for years. He's going to continue to set him up to succeed. He's going to have to go and relearn a new playbook. He's going to have to acclimate to a new locker room. He's going to have to upend his family. And, oh, by the way, he's going to need a facility nearby. TB12 facility is right there in New England. And he seems like such a guy in terms of he needs routine. He's habitual.
Sure.
He's going to uproot all of that and go somewhere else. I think there's people like him that want the next challenge. They want to be able to say they did it somewhere. There are certainly guys who've done it. But why ruin what you've got going in New England? I think it's fun. I think a lot of people love the attention. There's certainly an ego stroke element to it. It helps you realize what you've got in New England. But I'd be shocked if he moved.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
It's funny because we forget sometimes, but there are actually other free agents that are not Tom Brady. Let's talk about a couple of names right now. There's a few. I mean, they're actually pretty impressive names. That's the list. That's the top 10 at NFL.com. Guys, take your pick right now. Spin the roulette wheel. Timmy, give me a free agent, even off the list, and tell me where you believe is the perfect landing spot for them. Jane, who you got?
I think a lot of people would expect me to go ahead and go with Dak Prescott.
Sure.
But I've been thinking a lot about the Amari Cooper situation because I do think it's going to come down to an Amari Dak because there's so many free agents in Dallas.
Who do you love more?
I think Dak's the guy you got to go with. He is the future of the franchise. He's the face. This guy has galvanized them since his rookie season. But if I'm Amari Cooper, I'm staying within the division. I'm looking at the Eagles.
Okay.
And here's why I'm saying that. Cerebral guy, cerebral locker room. He's used to a 1A, 1B scenario in Dallas with, obviously, it was him and Michael Gallup. Consider Cooper and Alshon Jeffrey, how dangerous that could be. My convos with the Eagles folks at the Combine, receiver. So here's your guy. It's a position that they're hyper-focused on. Cooper is quiet, curious, competitive. Dallas may not be able to retain him. And ahead of Dallas giving up a 1, people forget the Eagles reportedly offered a 2 for him. Do they circle back? He's 25 years old. He's had 5 NFL seasons. And how about this? 4 1,000 receiving yards with 3 different head coaches.
That's kind of crazy.
And I think Doug Peterson's a guy he would really gel with.
And what if they brought in Amari and then Howie Roseman said, screw it, we're going to get Dez, too. We're going to bring him and play the Cowboys. That's what I'm talking about. Go get it, Howie.
Yeah, they had
Nate?
a lot of drop balls last year, and he's a sure-handed wide receiver. For me, I'm looking at Teddy Bridgewater. You know, he's one of those individuals that we don't talk about enough. I mean, he had that great comeback from that very horrific injury. But let's just talk about last year for a second. Drew Brees, he gets banged up. Teddy Bridgewater goes 5-0. Okay, so where should Teddy Bridgewater go? How about the Chicago Bears? Listen, I know Mitchell Trubisky is the man, right? He's going to be there for as long as they will allow it. But speaking of that, if they don't exercise his 5th year in his contract, this will be his last season as a Chicago Bear. And why not bring in somebody that can compete and possibly steal that position? And in those 5 games, guess what? The last game that Teddy Bridgewater played, who did he beat? the Chicago Bears, where he threw for 2 touchdowns in that game. So you know how it is in this league. You're only as good as the teams that you beat, and the Chicago Bears have a lasting memory of what Teddy Bridgewater did to them as we're watching the highlights. So I feel like he could be an individual that you could bring in for a low amount of money, bring the ultimate competition within that quarterback room, and if he steals the job, then you give him the job. He's proved to be a winner and a guy that can take care of the ball.
And a guy that Sean Payton believed in so much. He paid him, what, $8 million to be the backup quarterback.
Backup.
And then look at the way he galvanized that locker room. I mean, the bike life, the enthusiasm, the excitement, the way that he loved and was embraced in that city. Imagine what he could do in Chicago. And he's only 2 years older than Mitch Trubisky.
He's 27 years old.
Bears been very quiet about it, very coy, almost too quiet. It's always Mitch. What
you got, KB?
We'll see in the next couple weeks. Well, let's go from a bridge to a hill. I want to talk about Ryan Tannehill. You know, it's interesting because they're all this talk about Brady potentially going to Tennessee. And Derrick Henry, of all people, was asked about it, and he kind of said, we got to the AFC Championship game. Why would we not keep Ryan Tannehill? I'll tell you why he wouldn't. Ryan Tannehill, as good as he was last year, there's what I call the cheese puff factor. And I'm going to take you into the big box store. You're going to go in there, and you're going to go, and there's always a sample table, all right? And there's the elderly woman with the shower cap. You go and you get a sample of the little cheese puff in the cup.
Of course.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
It's so salty. It's so good. You sometimes can fall into the mistake of saying, let's just buy the huge barrel of the cheese puff. Let's spend the $50 for 5,000 cheese puffs. You got to be careful doing that. I think they had a sample of Ryan Tannehill. It was 1 year. Be very careful buying the barrel because sometimes you get 2 or 3 cheese puffs deep. You're like, this is actually kind of gross. It's too salty. I need to rinse my mouth out. I don't need this many cheese puffs. I'm really reticent to look at Ryan Tannehill and say, that's it. Never mind all the years we saw him in Miami, who was kind of average. I'm ready to give him the keys to the kingdom. I see cheese puffs, and I also see a little bit of Nick Foles in Jacksonville, where it's like, wait, we wanted that one. I'm not ready to go and take the giant thing and put it on my. You
don't circle back and get another sample.
A couple more samples. And it's a very expensive sample because you may have to tag that sample. Yeah. But in terms of the long-term deal, that's why you wouldn't do it. You haven't seen enough. It's Ryan Tannehill. This is not the guy who fell out of the sky and became Joe Montana. We have history with Tannehill, and it's not all great.
You ever adjust your outfit?
I'm never going to look at him the same way.
He's the cheese puff now?
He's cheese puff guy now.
Sorry, Ryan.
You ever adjust your outfit and circle back for that cheese puff?
Yeah,
try
glasses,
to change your voice?
I'll go fake mustache.
You're like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, can I get it?
We're here getting the last. Nope, not at all. Not at all.
That was not me.
That might have to be Mike Vrabel. That's the guy. What do you think, Jane? You're flummoxed.
I just literally cheese puffs.
Yeah.
Yesterday
Hungry for them or go stop by them
cheese
now?
Puffs.
There's a theme here. Not a coincidence.
All right, well, is Joe Burrow trying to remake the